Hayden King of the Yellowhead Institute is one of the co-authors of the report, which looks specifically at how Gladue principles have been applied on 6 nations of the Grand River in southern Ontario. He says neither Indigenous perpetrators nor victims of crime are being well served by current Gladue implementation.
I mean, people were really, hurt by their pass through the criminal justice system and the lack of justice that communities and families are receiving in the system. And I think that's on the one hand, and on the other, it's the fact that we continue to see these incredibly disproportionate rates of incarceration among Indigenous peoples.
The report identifies 4 key findings which are driving the poor results: disorganized Gladue processes and lack of information, limited resources for rehabilitation, restoration, and Gladue workers, rise of Indigenous identity fraud in Gladue applications, and failure to support victims, families, and communities. Paula Hill is the other co-author of the report, who has worked in the Six Nations justice system for over 20 years, including as a Gladue report writer. She says it is not uncommon for an accused to falsely present themselves as Indigenous in the hopes of getting bail.
The court itself, like the justices of the peace, they struggle to even know what to ask. And so when somebody identifies as Indigenous, the justices of the peace tend to just accept what they say.
Six Nations Police Service Chief Darren Montour adds perpetrators take advantage of Gladue to get reduced sentences.
Those accused who commit these serious offenses know that they're going to get a reduced sentence based on their Indigenous heritage. And to me, that's taking advantage of the justice system. And they promise this, that, and the other thing in the world, and like a month later, then here we go again. It's a revolving door. They go.
Jonathan Rudin is with Toronto-based Aboriginal Legal Services that has handled a number of Gladue cases. He says he would like to have seen the report take a broader perspective, looking at how different provinces are applying or failing to apply Gladue.
In a number of provinces in Canada, you can't get a Gladue report. So while the report talks about problems with the reports, getting them, and certain other issues in provinces where they're available, it doesn't mention that in, for example, Manitoba and Saskatchewan, there are no Gladue reports at all available. And those 2 provinces are a real driver in the increase in Indigenous people coming into prison.
In the end, Hill says there is only so much the justice system itself can do when it comes to reducing Indigenous incarceration rates, and there's a serious need for improved intervention programming.
We are seeing a higher prevalence of mental health and addictions, and it's more like complex trauma that we're hearing about. The severity of mental health and addiction are literally off the just through the roof.
Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.